Madam Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Rosalie Adams, Chairman of BVI Tourist Board, Mr. Russell Harrigan, staff of the board, members of the media, good morning. Thanks for coming to this conference this morning. Let me first take this opportunity again to wish everyone a happy and productive new year, one filled with fresh resolve and determination to pool our strengths, to position the British Virgin Islands as a regional and global leader in the tourism industry. I think we all know that the economic engine of the BVI turns on tourism and financial services, with the majority of our people employed in the tourism sector. I also think we all know that we have to constantly defend our market share of financial services due to the ongoing initiatives of the developed countries of the North and global financial institutions. It should therefore come as no surprise that my government is doing all it can to grow the tourism sector to ensure that our people continue to be productive. In my 2013 budget address on November 15, I outlined the key elements of my government's Back to Basics strategy being implemented to reposition tourism in the marketplace. This strategy focuses on the destination strengths in the areas of land-based tourism, water-based and nautical tourism, growing the super and mega yacht sector, expanding destinations calendar of annual events, developing the destination's potential in the lucrative wedding and honeymoon market, and expanding the destination's advertising and social media program in North America, our primary market. At the same time, we will be aggressively re-entering markets like the United Kingdom and Europe, and entering new markets like South America. This strategy is underpinned by sharp focus on and consolidation of all our marketing initiatives. My government fully understands that to grow and prosper, our tourism sector will need to be more flexible and responsive to the global trends which are shaping and driving the consumer decision-making process. We understand, for example, that consumers of our tourism products wish to take more frequent, shorter family vacations, which makes it more important to improve the access pathways to the BVI. We cannot survive economically as a territory if we lose market share in the tourism sector. That is why we'll continue to forge ahead with the extension of the Terence B. Lettsome Airport runway and the extension of the cruise ship pier. These projects, we believe, will assist us to maintain our competitive edge in tourism. We also believe that the right skill sets in management of the tourism sector, fully organizing and utilizing our human, financial, and technical resources, and a healthy collaboration between the government, the BVI Tourist Board, and the private sector is imperative if we will be successful in positioning our market and our product in the global tourism arena. In this effort, the role and leadership of the BVI Tourist Board is critical to our overall success. On taking office a little over a year ago, I appointed a new board of directors for the BVI Tourist Board with the specific mission of ensuring that the organization is structured to deliver on my government's objective of re-energizing the territory's tourism sector. We have made significant progress. However, much work remains to be done. It is my task as Minister of Tourism to bring the right level of human and financial resources to the board and to allow this, the single largest sector of the economy, to maintain a path of growth and prosperity. I'm aware that it takes dedication, diligence, persistence, vision, effective planning, and the right hands on deck. In this regard, today I'm pleased to announce that the BVI Tourist Board has announced officially, let me say, that the BVI Tourist Board has retained the services of Mrs. Sharon Flax-Mars, who will serve as the Director of Tourism. Sharon is a seasoned tourism and hospitality professional with over 25 years of experience, earned from working at many levels in tourism in a varied hospitality career. Sharon essentially grew up in tourism, assisting with her parents' various hospitality businesses. She brings to the position deep senior management ability and experience, having served most recently for more than 10 years on the senior management team at Rosewood Little Lakes Bay in the capacity of Director of Human Resources. In that position, she had responsibility for guiding a staff of over 300. At the national level, Sharon served as a member of the BVI Tourist Board across 3 administrations and hails from the crown jewel of our tourism product, Virgin Gorda. At heart, Sharon is an entrepreneur, and I'm confident that those skills will stand the board in good stead in making sure that we get the best value for every dollar spent. Mrs. Flaxmars, welcome to our team. You have joined us at a time when all hands are needed on deck in building a better Virgin Islands. I also note at this point that Mr. Andy Flax, your dad, is here, yes. And also Sister Sharon, welcome this morning, and thank you. I wish to formally thank Mrs. Malcia Smith Hamilton for her steadfast efforts over the last 9 months in managing the affairs of the board as the acting director of tourism. I also thank the former director, Mrs. Hadassah Ward, for her hard work in the BVI tourism industry. In closing, tourism continues to grow in importance as an economic driver for the British Virgin Islands. My government's objective over the next 3 years is to strengthen tourism as a primary building block for future growth in our economy. My government and the BVI Tourist Board will be working overtime this new year as we position the BVI as a Platinum Plus destination that will bring increased tourism revenue by providing value for money experience that is second to none. I want to thank you all. Now I invite Ms. Mars to.
Thank you. Thank you for a minute. Good morning, everyone. Honoring the protocol already established, I would like to embrace the day and wish all of you a wonderful 2013, filled with great expectations for the continual revitalization of our tourism sector. Firstly, I would like to express my thanks to the chairman and the directors of the BVI Tourist Board, the Premier and Minister of Tourism, and the government of the Virgin Islands for entrusting me with helping to move the tourism agenda forward. Notwithstanding, I would like to acknowledge my mother, Norma Flax, who has passed on, for being my visionary and a BVI tourism trailblazer. I know that she sits with the Almighty, and they will both help to guide my path in the times ahead. I am a product of BVI tourism. I can remember learning hospitality from an early age when my mother and father launched one of the first BVI-owned hotels, Fisher's Cove, in 1972. Throughout the years, I've become even more passionate about our beautiful islands and about hospitality and tourism. There's a lot of work to be done. I am thrilled and excited to take on this new role and join a team that is poised to work hard in revitalizing the sector. We have to rebuild relationships, and we have to forge new partnerships. We have to create strategic alliances that will help to reposition the British Virgin Islands and ultimately lead to a vibrant tourism culture. We must be aggressive, innovative, and think outside of the box. In fact, some of you who know me well know that I'm a believer in that maybe there needs to be no box. We have to be bold yet strategic, and at the same time fiscally responsible in our approach. In the words of our Premier, tourism is everyone's business. As the Premier indicated earlier, repositioning and re-energizing tourism will take diligence, persistence, vision, planning, education, time, and money. I am committed and passionate about working with the team as well as the industry partners to achieve this. We need to be resilient, innovative, and proactive because we're competing on the global tourism stage. To this end, we will intensify our marketing campaigns in our key markets in the United States and the United Kingdom. At the same time, we will forge ahead with relatively untapped markets of Canada and Latin America, with focus on Argentina, Brazil, and Chile, whose economies remain vibrant, irrespective of the global economic crisis. We will push for that increase of 10% arrivals, and to increase those arrivals by 2016. And we'll also intensify our efforts to capture a greater share of the destination wedding and honeymoon niche, as well as the mega yacht sector. A more focused and targeted plan will be unfurled to drive visitors to our shores during the summer months. It is vital that our product and our infrastructure show growth and improvement in order to attract and retain our clientele. Further development and a commitment to our BVI-owned businesses, inclusive of our jewels collection, small inns and villas, restaurants, and water-based activities is vital. Further infrastructure development necessary to sustain the yachting and the diving sector is also necessary. Continued support of large international affiliated operators and a mutual commitment to training and education must be fostered and encouraged. Further development of our cruise ports and supporting services and businesses, expansion of our airports and seaports, as well as an enhancement to our health services and historical and natural sites must go hand in hand with our tourism development. Reliable and comfortable access, whether by air or sea, is critical as we move forward. Our islands, our British Virgin Islands, have unparalleled beauty. We have a caring and a gentle people who have a distinct pride in our islands. The end goal of our premier, and by extension, all of us, is for a better way of life. So it becomes the goal of my team and I to move tourism forward. Our goal is to increase visitors to our islands, to ensure that we help to create memorable moments and experiences, to create a wow factor during their visit so that we become their destination of choice. I remain committed to our product, to our tourism livelihood, and I look forward to everyone's support. Tourism is everyone's business. I look forward to working with the team, our industry partners, and all stakeholders in both the private and the public sector as we reposition our industry for assured success. Thank you.
At this time, we will welcome questions from the media. Please identify your media house and then you ask your question. Thank you.
Your question may be addressed to Ms. Flaxmar, Mr. Harrigan, or myself.
Good morning, everyone. Sean Rose, JTV. Honorable Premier, you have indicated that reliable access to the territory is one of the key initiatives going forward, and you've just had support from the Director of Tourism as well in that area. What is the status of discussions with local ferry operators that the Minister of Communications informed us began sometime last year?
Those discussions are ongoing. As a matter of fact, we are going to have another meeting with them today because government is certain that we have to work with the ferries to enable them to perform the service in a reliable service. They're doing, what they have to do, but I think it is important government works with the operators. This cooperation between government and the private sector is essential in all aspects of endeavors as we move the country forward.
Celeste Edwards, BVI Platinum News. Now, the new director made mention about intensifying in terms of marketing, including untapped country areas, so to speak. Now, as opposition leader, I know this is in relation to financing, in relation to the tourist board. As opposition leader, I recall that you had made concerns or raised concerns in terms of monies being given to the tourist board by the then VIP government in terms for marketing. Now, I know in the Standing Finance Committee, concerns were raised by officials from the board in relation to the amount of monies made available, and I understand that you made commitment to increase. I don't know if you can just explain whether or not in this budget cycle that increase will come and the amount in relation to marketing.
I can't tell you the amount at this moment, but they have certainly got an increase over last year. And as we go forward and as they continue to present their plans to government, then government will also review the money that have been allocated to them as necessary.
And just secondly, and what will the former acting director, what will her position be in the tourist board, Mrs. Hampton?
First, I want to say good morning to, and I didn't have a statement, thank God. I want to certainly wish all of you a good New Year, and may all your wishes come true. And as it relates to Malsia, first I want to formally and publicly thank Malsia for assisting us over the last 9 months, and what must not at times be I'm sure, quite a challenging job. In terms of Malsia's substantial position at the board was deputy director, so she remained the deputy director.
Good morning, Beverly Lewis from ZDBI. This is Black Swans. When you're in your role, are we going to be hearing more from the BVI Tourist Board in terms of when you go away promoting the destination at CTO conferences and other events? Are we going to be hearing more from the Tourist Board?
Most definitely. I'm a firm believer in communication. And it's important for persons in the British Virgin Islands, whether they're involved in the tourism sector or not, to know what we're doing, what our initiatives are, when we're traveling. So we plan to have a more forward approach as it deals with letting you know. In fact, we've had 1 or 2 discussions, and it is very important to me as well as to Malsia and the team that we come to the public more and be more visible as a board.
Mr. Harden, could you enlighten us about the specific rates in terms of figures where visitor arrivals were concerned in 2012?
I can tell you definitively, just 3 days or 6 days or 7 days into the year, I can't tell you definitively as yet what our numbers were totally for 2012. I think those are, as you would expect, are being compiled. I can speak though from anecdotal evidence. We have done some internal speaking to the various properties and what have you. We certainly are of the view that the year ended on a strong note, and we expect that will continue into 2013. Some of that certainly I want to think is as a result of our efforts over the last year, and whatever help we get from a turning around in the economy too, I take that. That too helps. A couple of days ago, the decisions made by the U.S. President and Congress to have some kind of a mini deal, I think kind of allayed people's fears, particularly as it relates to their taxes. So we want to believe that their mental disposition to things like vacation and disposable income would be enhanced, and we expect that that's a good basis for thinking that into 2013, particularly from our primary market in the U.S., we expect to see continued growth.
Okay, good morning, Crystal Canyon from the BVI Beacon. We spoke a little bit about access into the territory. I was wondering if there's any update on what's going on at the Virgin Gorda Airport. How regularly are we using it, and are there plans to increase air traffic through there?
Well, as you know, one of the things we announced, I think, at our industry meeting on the 1st of December was, and we had all the airlines there, was, and I was very pleased about certainly, is having Seabourn going to Virgin Gorda. From all indications, that operation is going well. Today, so I've had a follow-up call to make sure things are moving as we discussed and expect. There are some cosmetic things we are talking to the airport authority about doing in terms of the airport. Some work they have started, and we expect for them to continue. We'll probably have a site visit later this week at that facility, as a matter of fact. So from all indications, we are pleased with what has been happening there. There has also been some work done with regards to potentially getting another seaplane to go into North Sound. From my discussions with Mr. Fraser over the weekend, I think most pieces of that plan are well in place. There was an issue of getting a floating dock, which I think is on island and should be installed fairly soon. The idea being that capacity will again go into Virgin Gorda, but this time I think more to St. Thomas and into the North Sound area. As you all know, North Sound was an entry port, has been upgraded to a port of entry. It was used in the past for seaplane, and So doing this is not new in any way, and we certainly have the support of the properties in that area for doing this.
Kathy Richards, Virgin Island News Online. I just want to first say I'm having a pleasant experience here on the island of Tortola. I've been here for yet a month.
That's
My
great.
question to Ms. Morris, to what extent have you been able to assess the yachting and diving industries? And what about the hotel industry? I haven't heard much about hospitality.
Okay, as I indicated, I've been involved in tourism in the BVI for quite some time. We do recognize that diving and yachting are very important sectors. They have been on the upswing as well. I do need to spend a little bit more time working with them. In fact, next week I have plans to have some site visits with the different operators to learn more on the ground as to specifically what their challenges are, what the tourist board can do to help them. As far as hospitality and hotels, we plan quite a bit of work with our small properties and inns, because we know as well that they're limited sometimes with resources, and the idea is that we will educate them, we will work with them to assist them, in learning financials, interior design, etc., wherever it is that we can help, and as well with the marketing resources, because that's one of the thrusts of the tourist board, for us to market the BVI, and we know that a lot of the challenges with the smaller properties tend to be the resources for marketing.
Denise Clark from the Standpoint. Well, it has been established that stopover visitors spend more overtime. What kind of marketing efforts, as you go into these new markets and intensify your efforts, what can we expect in terms of more concentration on increasing those numbers? Because you do have a high amount of cruise visitors. So are you making any efforts to increase the stopover runs?
Of course, the efforts will be on the forefront to increase the overnight visitors, and to that end, that's why it's so important that we work on our marketing. We go back to some of the basics in working with our core markets, especially those of the United States, especially the Eastern Seaboard and the UK, because those are the ones who have been proven to stay in the BVI on an overnight basis. And the trust of the market, and again, we need to be creative. To that end, I know we've been advertising for a director of marketing, and that person's sole responsibility would be to putting a marketing campaign together and to target the specific markets so that we work towards increasing the overnight.
This is for the Premier. I think government has spoken about separating the cargo dock from the passenger dock. And I think the House of Assembly had approved the purchase of the land in Matchley Bottom. Can you say if this administration will follow through with that plan?
During our first years in office, 2003-2005, we saw the need to separate the cargo and passenger dock, and proceeded with plans to do that. There were some changes to those plans, but the need still exists, and we will continue to focus until it's done.
And what's happening with the bathroom and the bags? Any update on that?
As far as I know, it's being worked on right now.
I think on that, Premier, we are aggressively trying to make sure that those restrooms are open. As a matter of fact, it's one of the first areas of attack that our new director has been looking at. Because as you know, this time of the year is when we get most of the visitors, and we are not particularly pleased about the situation. We also having the discussions internally about, where a restroom should sit. Is it a responsibility for the board? As the minister, the Premier has access Minister of Natural Resources to do, who's putting in a beach policy and doing considerable upgrades at beaches, should that migrate from us to them. But that's an internal discussion. But the point that you're raising about the banks is one that we're keen to make sure it's functioning and is up to speed.
I just want to go back on the ferry issue, Dr. Smith. Is this being dealt with as a matter of urgency? Because I think that tourism has been getting a hit where that is concerned in terms of the people coming from North America and so on. Because I've been in St. Thomas on numerous occasions, there are a lot of tourists and the schedules are just crazy. So is this being dealt with as a matter of urgency? I know you said you have a meeting today, but how soon are we going to see something coming into force? And probably, was there any time in your discussion the issue of subsidizing the ferry come up at any point?
The discussions went along many ways, but we are dealing with the matter as a matter of urgency. And that's why we are meeting today after having had a short meeting this morning. Because we do, as you explained, see it as an urgent matter.
Kathy here once again. On the issue of safety and security, I've had a frightening experience in that I've been able to cross over to one of the other islands, and what I noticed is that there was a large crowd of persons on the vessel, but nobody paid any attention and were wearing life jackets. Is this common procedure? Is it something that needs to be looked into?
I didn't completely follow. You said the issue.
No one wears a life jacket, not on vessel.
Well, I think we'd allow the port authorities to deal with that, but I'll tell you, in the BVI, in the Virgin Islands, catching a ferry is like catching a cab in New York. I don't think you're required to have a life jacket on as you go. What I think the rules are that you have to have provisions for life jackets. So in the event that something, an event occurs where they need it, that there are provisions. And I think that's part of the licensing process followed.
That is correct. The life jackets must be available in a certain number, or what they call these donuts, the life rafts, also available on all the vessels.
Proportionate to the people that they can accommodate.
Right, this is to the Premier once again. This is in relation to the water situation. Recently, you did allude to the fact that some small businesses, hotels, and so on, are concerned in terms of the water interruptions and the constant water shortage. Given this, do you think it's prudent at this time, given the water situation, do you think it's prudent to continue at this point in time to give the cruise ship water, continue giving them water, providing them with water at this point in time?
Yeah, I hear your question. Basically, what we're doing is working very hard to improve the production of water in the territory. Recently, you know that the plant in Bogus Bay has been put under new management to have to increase the productivity from maybe 50% where it is to what it could produce, and even more than it had been producing in the past. We are discussing, continued discussions with Bywater about their involvement in producing water as well. So I expect improvement in the production of water very soon, and therefore we will be able to continue to service the cruise ships with water. Of course, we'll have to, initially right now, they'll be limited right now, but as we go on, very shortly expect to be able to provide what they need.
Sorry, I didn't get the last part. You said now it's limited.
Initially, they expect it to be, the amount of water provided to them to be not maybe as much as they would expect, but as very shortly, I expect us to be up to productivity that will allow us to give them what they need.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to thank you, the members of the media, for your questions, and you gave the panel an opportunity to wrap up. Ms. Flaxmars, we'll begin with you, followed by Mr. Harrigan, and then Honorable Premier.
Again, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for coming out this morning. I embrace tourism. I look forward to working diligently with everyone to move our initiatives forward.
I do just want to thank you for coming. I am particularly pleased that we've gotten to the point of retaining the services of Sharon and to be a director of tourism. We are making progress, but as the Premier correctly said, there's a lot of work to be done. The days of when we could sit back on our laurels and assume that we have the best of everything, I think are long gone. We have to be every day very aggressive. The global marketplace is very competitive and it's not going to be kind to us. So we've got to make sure we do whatever we can with the resources, human and financial, to make sure that we position the BVI to get our share of the market. And if you ask me a year out as chairman, am I pleased? There's always things you could do differently, but yes, I think we're making progress and we intend to. 2013 is a year where we intend to really advance our cause in the market.
Yeah, I'd also like to thank you for coming. I appreciate some of the questions because it just keeps, I know you have in mind some of the issues and it helps us to keep our focus on those issues as well, which are important to the continued of our tourism strategy. It is true, as the chairman pointed out, that anecdotally, speaking to many of the hoteliers, large and small, there's a definite increase over last year's numbers, and I expect with the continual efforts of the tourist board that we'll see the increase that we expect, that we're looking for. I want to congratulate finally the chairman and the tourist board for bringing Mrs. Flax on board. So I know that the board has been concentrating on looking at the organization structure and making sure that it's ready. So when Mrs. Flax on board, if she comes now, she should have an easy introduction and
Smooth sailing.
smooth sailing. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. This ends today's press conference.